Weighted means are how we figure grades. That's how we figure grades in your class, and it's how we figure grades at FTCC. So we'll start with talking about grades per classes. So it says in example 3, Ryan's taken an advanced psychology class in which the midterm and final exams are worth 35% each, and the homework is worth 30% each. On a 100-point scale, his midterm exam was this, his homework average was that, and his final exam score was that. On a 100-point scale, what is Ryan's overall average for the class? Well, we know his final exam and his midterm are worth this. So I use my 0.35 because we can't put a percent in an equation. We talked about that. So where for his midterm it said he made 85.5, that counted 0.35, plus 0.35 for his final. It said his final exam score was 88.5, plus it was 0.30 for his homework, and his homework was 94.1. So punching that into his calculator, we get that he made an 89.13 in the class. Question is that an A or a B? Well, here that's a B. Ryan was hoping to get an A in the class, which there requires an overall score of a 93.5 or higher. Ooh, that's not what it is here. Could he have scored high enough on his final exam to get an A in the class? This one was his final exam score. What's the highest you can make on the final exam? It's a 100. So let's refigure it, putting a 100 there. And see what he would have made. If I'd put a 100 there, he would get a 93.155. Is that enough for an A? Not even I would round that up. Nope, that gets him a 93.2, not a 93.5. Sorry, Ryan. Nope. Not going to happen for you. You should always work on your homework until you can get it up to a 100. That's your takeaway here. Getting that 94 on the homework. Always work on it till you get a 100. Now you know. That's why you do that. How to calculate your GPA. This is a little information you need to understand. Different schools calculate GPA differently. Most people who go here and incidentally take this class plan on transferring to a different school at some point in time in their life. Just because we at FTCC use the A, B, C, D, and F, just like this, where A's are 4.0s and B's are 3.0s and C's are 2.0s and D's are 1.0s, does not mean that the school you're going to be going to does that. Different schools have different rules. Some schools have A minuses and B pluses and C minuses and D pluses, etc., etc. And it depends on the school you're going to as to whether or not they have that. So you need to find out what school you're going to does. How they transfer things. That matters a lot. It matters a lot. So, incompletes and withdrawals do not receive grade points and do not influence the GPA. This is true for your registrar GPA. This is not true for the financial GPA. There is a financial GPA. The financial GPA is the one that the FAFSA looks at. It's the one that dictates whether or not you get grants. It's the one that dictates whether or not you get money. It's the one that dictates whether or not you are put on probation, academic probation, etc., etc. The financial GPA. They count the withdrawals and incompletes as Fs, just so you understand. It matters. Don't think that it doesn't matter. It matters. So, try not to get a ton of those, but just so you understand, it matters. It does matter. Moving on. When you're doing GPAs, because I find that students who get here really don't know anything about calculating their GPA. You're told about credits, you're told about grades, you are not told about quality points. So you need to understand that you have to figure out how many total credits you have and how many total quality points you have in order to figure out your GPA. Each GPA is figured per semester and is calculated by the registrar. When you ask the registrar what your GPA is, they're going to tell you what your GPA is per all of your classes, not just per the semester. But when you see it printed, it's only going to be per semester. So they're only going to show you what it is for this past semester. You're not going to see an overall GPA unless you look in self-service. Then you might get to see the overall GPA. So, for the quality points, you have to calculate them yourself. It tells you what the grade is, and it tells you up here that for this particular scale, they want the A's to be 4.0, an A minus is a 3.7, a B plus is a 3.4, a B is a 3.0, a B minus is a 2.7, a C plus is a 2.4, a C is a 2.0. And it would keep on going, but we didn't need any of those numbers to keep on going. So an A is a 4.0, a B plus is a 3.4, a C plus is a 2.4, a B minus is a 2.7, and an A minus is a 3.7. I need to multiply these together to figure out my quality points. So 4 times 4.0 gives me 16.0 quality points. 3 times 3.4 gives me 10.2 quality points. 4 times 2.4 gives me 9.6 quality points. 3 times 2.7 gives me 8.1 quality points. 3 times 3.7 gives me 3.7 quality points. Now I can total up all of my credits. 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1 is 15 total credits. And then total up my quality points. I have 8, 9 plus 7 is 16. Carry my 1, 7, 16, 24, 25, 26, 27. Carry my 1, so that's 37.6. 47.6. Where did we get the 4 from? 6, 17, 24. Yep, 47.6. So then, in order to find the GPA, you take the total quality points and you divide it by the total credits. So that's going to be 47.6 divided by 15. In this case, that gives me 3.17. And that's my GPA. For this semester. Not for any other semester, just for this semester. They want to know what grade would the student need in French to raise her GPA over 3.5. In French, she made a 2.4. That's down here. What would it take for her GPA to be a 3.5? For this to be a 3.5? Well, let's work backwards. Let's make this orange. If it were 3.5 and this was 15, that would mean that X would have to be 3.5 times 15, which is 52.5, which now means that this is 52.5. Instead of the 47.6. Well, if that's the case, minus the 47.6 means that changed by what? 15, 4.9. So it had to go up by 4.9. So the quality points increased by 4.9. If the quality points increased by 4.9, then 9.6 would have to increase by 4.9, right? So 9.6 plus 4.9 would give me 15, carry the 1, 10, 14.5. So if this was 14.5, four times some number has to equal 14.5. Or something bigger than 14.5. So 4 times 3.4 equals 12 point, I gotta take out a calculator now. It's helpful if you take out one that works. Hold that thought. Four times 3.4 is 13.6. Not 14.5. So 4 times 3.7 14.8, which is more than 14.5. So they've got to make the 3.7, which is an A minus. A minus. Are you going to need to be able to do B? No. You just need to be able to do A. You just need to be able to do A. Don't stress over B. Okay. That's all.